Good evening and welcome to Church and Society on ECWA TV Africa. The show started last week and we took a look at ECWA's contribution over the years to the growth of the nation and even the development of the nation. And last week I had Sebastian Abu on the show and Professor Yusufu Turaki. Today, in order for us to really dive in and elaborate on the issues that are happening, I decided to have the show with Professor Turaki alone with me on the show. Professor Yusufu Turaki, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good evening to all the viewers.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited that the show is live on Facebook as well. You can call us at 7:30 so that your voice can be heard on the show. You can also make your contribution by commenting. We will respond to all the comments on social media as you make them available to us. It's a dark day on the plateau as we mourn people that we've lost in Miango and other parts of the state. And on the show today, we are going to be talking extensively about the negative ills that have befallen and are still, making headlines in Nigeria today. Once more, Professor, you are welcome. I can tell you how excited I am having you last time because you spoke elaborately on issues that concern the nation. And we are looking at the contribution of ECWA to nation building. Now, for over the years now, we know ECWA is huge. ECWA is mega. ECWA is colossal. And we are going to be looking at just three things before we move forward. SIM, the medical outreach, education. And these three things before we move on to the next points that we have. And I can almost say that you have been in ECWA maybe before I was even born, and you have had you have seen ECWA then, and you are seeing ECWA now. In these three areas that I've mentioned, talking about the medical, talking about SIM, talking about education. Let's leave the other things out, but let's lay the foundation on these three things. And the phone number should be displayed right away for people to copy it and call on right at 7:30. We will try and control the discussion. It's difficult to control Professor Turaki when he's talking, but I will try my best to see that we take that break at 7:30 so that we can have people's contributions already. So please, sir, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Brother Tony.
You're welcome, sir.
And also, I greet all the viewers this evening. To me, it's a privilege for me to share with the general public about the things that this program wants them to know about the situation in Nigeria. Let me begin with SIM. SIM, its name used to be Sudan Interior Mission. I will not bore you with historical background to SIM. Everything that I know about SIM has been put into one of my biggest books that I've ever written. It's over 700 pages. It's the theory and practice of Christian missions in Africa. It's mainly a case study of SIM and ECWA. There, I gave a detailed analysis of how SIM came into existence, for what reason and for what purpose. And all the activities of SIM in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world are contained in that book. It wasn't only SIM alone, but other mission organizations like CMS, Church Missionary Society, which is Anglican today, DRCM, Dutch Reform, Mission, CRC, and the Baptist, the Church of the Brethren, CBM, Sudan United Mission, and also other organizations, other Christian organizations. Many of them worked in the north. I also gave details what they did in order to bring about the development of northern Nigeria in particular, but Nigeria in general. SIM, historically in the north, was the largest Christian organization in northern Nigeria. And in fact, at the height of SIM used to have over 1,000 missionaries in Nigeria. And in terms of Christian missions, the work of Christian missions, SIM has done a lot in the development of Nigeria, in particular northern Nigeria. The time that SIM came, shortly after the arrival of the colonial masters, that's the British, SUM, Sudan United Mission, which preceded SIM, and also SIM came after them and established the work in the northern parts of Nigeria. Northern Nigeria used to have about 12 provinces, and SIM worked in 10 of them, except in 2. And SIM did a lot. Now let me say a bit about education, and then about medical work. The primary task of SIM, and the primary task was to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to the interior ethnic nationalities that were in the interior of Africa. That is why it nicknamed itself Sudan Interior Mission. SIM, as a mission, pioneered education. And SIM did a lot in developing the areas that we call today the Middle Belt areas. And most of institutions, schools, and education in general was developed by Christian missions in the Middle Belt areas. The colonial masters did not want Christian missions to work in the Muslim emirates or Muslim provinces or Muslim areas. But the colonial masters advised them to enter into the non-Muslim areas and bring civilization, that is their concept, and bring civilization to those ethnic groups that needed to be civilized. And they asked them not to enter the Muslim areas. And that was what the colonial masters did. So they were bad. Christian missions were bad. They were not allowed to enter into the Muslim areas. However, SUM was in Zaria and Bida, but they preceded the colonial masters in those places. So that was how the colonial masters allowed Christian missions to stay in Zaria. Later on, they were moved to Wusasa and then Bida. And then after that, those Christian missions that came after that, they were asked to go to the Middle Belt areas or the non-Muslim areas. Now, by the early 1930s, the British colonial masters changed their policies and allowed Christian missions to enter into the Muslim areas. But let me state why the colonial masters allowed Christian missions to enter the Muslim areas. At that time, in the north, there were all kinds of epidemics, diseases, like scabies, like blindness, leprosy, yaws, and other diseases that became epidemic in the north. And the colonial masters realized that they did not have the resources to contain these diseases that have become endemic in northern Nigeria. And that is why they now opened the Muslim areas so that Christian missions could enter them and bring about a measure of development, particularly in the area of leprosy. The leprosy was a very serious disease in the north, as well as blindness, scabies, kazwa, and many other things like that, many other diseases. Now, Christian missions move into the Muslim areas to deal specifically with the problem of leprosy. Leprosariums were established by the colonial masters and native authorities, NA. But they didn't have enough resources to deal with this disease. But the Christian missions had. And so they allowed Christian missions to enter into the Muslim areas in order to help contain the spread and the impact of leprosy in the north. At that time, the colonial government of northern Nigeria and native authorities, they were the ones that ran the leprosariums in those provinces. But because of what I said, that they didn't have enough resources, so they invited Christian missions in. SIM was invited, in fact, was the first Christian mission invited to start medical work. And then SUM, and then CMS, that's Church Missionary Society, which is Anglican. Now, I wouldn't want to say much about medical work other than to say that SIM and other Christian missions like CMS and SUM and other DRCM, they contributed immensely in the area of medical work and medical services. At that time, the colonial masters couldn't provide medical services to the larger portion of the north, and that is the Middle Belt areas. And these were the areas where the SIM and other missions did a lot of work, medical work. SIM in Nigeria at that time, in the north, as I should say, SIM had 7 leprosariums. As I said last week, that in Nigeria there were 14 leprosariums, and SIM alone had 7 leprosariums. It shows you the spread and the contribution that Christian missions, particularly those in the north, dealt with the issues of medical services and medical work. Now let me move on to education. SIM and other Christian missions like CMS, SUM, DRCM, EYN, and others, they contributed a lot in the development of education. In fact, they pioneered education in the north. The north became well educated because of the work of Christian missions. The education was thriving in the southern region of Nigeria. That's southern Nigeria. They were well educated because of the work of Christian missions. And while the north wasn't so well educated because education started very late. And so northern region, that is the colonial region of northern Nigeria, decided to join hands with Christian missions. And they came out with an educational policy of grant-aided schools. And both the colonial government of northern Nigeria and Christian missions boards or mission agencies join hands together to develop general education, what you can call secular education, in northern Nigeria. And so North became well educated in terms of numbers, in terms of spread of education. And the Christian mission contributed a lot in raising the standard of education of Northerners who could now compete with the educated Southerners. And so in terms of contribution to education, Christian missions could not be faulted for not educating the people in the areas that they worked. What I will say here is that the takeover of mission schools in Nigeria in general, and in particular in the northern states, later in years, you see, people thought that it was a good move, but they didn't know the hidden agenda of those who decided to take over mission schools. They were able to convince the government of Nigeria and the government of some states in Nigeria to take over education. But you can see today the results, the long-term consequences of that policy of taking over mission schools, as missions and voluntary schools, as well as medical services. Today, the standards of education have fallen generally. It's because of that. What is happening today in terms of education is pathetic. It's pathetic. Education standards have fallen in Nigeria. Now, to worsen the situation, particularly in the northern states of Nigeria, is the invasion of all educational institutions in the north. By what? By terrorists, by bandits, and by those who hate education. And that has set back education in the northern states. I don't know what northerners are going to do to address this situation, but I have not seen any efforts done by governments of the northern states and even northerners themselves to address this critical issue of national development, educational sector. The most important sector of development, national development or any regional development, the instrument of development is education. But in the north, we have abandoned education. Today, youth, children cannot go to school. Why? Because terrorists are everywhere, bandits are everywhere, harassing institutions and harassing people. And this is a terrible thing. And you can see the size of northern Nigeria and the power of state governments, and power of governmental institutions. And yet, they have never come together, sit down together, and solve the problem of education in the northern states. You see, the northern states are the most backward in terms of education. Most backward in terms of education. How many kids go to school now? Because they're afraid. If you go to school, you'll be kidnapped. And it has become a daily phenomenon in the north. And yet northerners are doing nothing to stop this. The government has resources, and citizens have resources to stop this menace. But everybody is just sitting down and saying, expecting that somebody to solve the problem for them. They have to have a united effort to solve this problem. I strongly believe that northern governments, how many of them? 19 of them. If they come together and say, we are going to deal with the issue of education, they have the resources to do it. But who is going to bail the cat? And that's the biggest problem that we have in the North. How could we be developed without education? Today, most of the people who hold key positions in Nigeria, particularly in the North, went through the era of good education. Today, we are not in the era of good education. And we are turning out young men and young women for tomorrow without any solid educational background. What would we expect to have tomorrow? A chaotic society, an illiterate society, because of lack of education. All the efforts of Christian missions in terms of medical services and educational services today, we're all lamenting the state and the condition in the North. Yeah.
Wow. This is pathetic and very elaborate, that the issue of education in Nigeria, especially the northern part of Nigeria, you mentioned backwardness like 2 or 3 times, and you passionately said it.
Oh, yes.
And we can fix it if we want it fixed.
Of course.
We can let it be the way it is if we are comfortable the way it is. Because if we have 19 governors out of 36 in Nigeria, I don't think it's a number that can be defeated. So, in other words, from your explanation, is a choice, is something we are comfortable with. Or maybe we can say because they can afford to travel out their children to have quality education that they failed to build in their own nation. They don't care about the masses and the people that are left behind. But it's a wonderful issue that you have laid this preamble. And we have about 5 minutes to take the break before we open the phone lines and start discussing. The issue of insecurity in Nigeria is threatening more than any other issue rising up in Nigeria. How did we get here, and how can we deal with the issue of insecurity? Because ECWA has tried in the area of providing education. ECWA tried in the area of providing medical facilities. ECWA tried in the area of a lot of things that you have mentioned. But ECWA cannot strive in the area of insecurity, because if ECWA tries, that is a venture that she's not licensed to do. So what can we do as a denomination?
Well, the fundamental problem of insecurity in Nigeria is loss of national values, loss of human values. When people do not have human values, when people do not have national values, then they will be governed by sub-national values. They will be governed by negative social values. And this is what is happening to us in Nigeria today, particularly in the North. Okay? What human being, what type of a human being that will take a gun, a knife, or whatever implement, and look at a pregnant woman, look at a little child, look at an elderly person, and then kill that person? What sort of values does that person have? Now, this is the state that we're in. that human beings have debased themselves worse than animals. Because animals are better. Animals, at least, they only kill to eat. But look at in Nigeria.
Meaning that they have a reason to kill.
Yes, to eat. They kill to eat.
But
what is happening in Nigeria? A human being, because of evil and wickedness and loss of values, what are they doing? Killing fellow human beings for no any justifiable reason. Okay? Now, that is terrible. Now, when you have, you see, those who do those things, they are in minority. In fact, the percentage of people who have become animals, who have debased themselves, they are very few. But it tells you the type of values, the type of national psyche that Northerners have. That a few people will terrorize the majority of people, and yet the people do nothing. This is terrible. I don't see bandits, terrorists, kidnappers, I don't see them having a problem. I see Nigerians having a problem. Because they don't know how to manage themselves and create a conducive and viable society, a peaceful society, a harmonious society. They have God's gifts to do that, to create a peaceful, conducive, viable society. But what is it? What is it? It's the reason is that Nigerians do not have a national ethic. And what I mean by that, they do not have a national structure. To do what? To moderate the excesses of the attitudes, of the behavior and practices of Nigeria. Now, what value will you use now to control bandits?
To control bandits.
What values will you use to control terrorists? What value will you use to stop all the kidnappers? Nigeria doesn't have any. They have soldiers, but the soldiers are incapable. They have police, they are incapable. They have government structures, government systems, government, what I would say that, what government has, the instruments of power. Government has instruments of power. But they don't have the values to stop these things. Government does not have the value to stop kidnapping, to stop bandits. They don't have the values. They have the instruments of power.
This goes beyond having weapons.
Of course. What is a weapon? Guns don't win war. Weapons do not win war. It is intelligence. You have weapons, but you must also have what? Intelligence.
You have weapons, you must have intelligence. Very quick break. When we return, we will continue with weapons, intelligence. Let's take this quick break, and the phone line should be open. The WhatsApp line should also be open, so that if you cannot reach us via normal phone call, you can reach us via WhatsApp. So let's take this quick break and be back. Welcome back to Church and Society, where we're discussing ECWA's contribution, the contribution of ECWA over the years to the nation building. And we are looking at so many issues. Something I would want us to quickly touch right now is the Miango issue. The killings in Miango, we have over 200 houses burnt down, people are displaced, and as a result of having weapons without values. If you don't have value and you have weapons, even if you do have, you need to have intelligence to win the war. What kind of intelligence do we need now, and where should it come from? Look at the sad pictures of the things that have happened in Miango, and we are right now showing it, and people are watching all over the world what is happening in Miango, the killings and all of that. Who can we say is responsible for this? You talked about people who have no value for human lives and people who you have likened to animals. Sir, how can we come out of this?
Tony.
Yes, sir.
Is it the first time that this thing is happening?
It's
in
not.
Miango?
It's not the second. It's not the 10th time. It's not the 20th time, sir.
Now, take Miango case and multiply it in Nigeria, particularly in the Middle Belt areas, and with specific reference to Katsina, Zamfara, and Niger. Okay, what is going on? Okay, now, if it is not the first, nor the second, nor the third, nor the fourth. Now, let's look at the picture. Today, somebody comes to your house and kills whatever he can get. Tomorrow, he comes back and repeats the same thing. The third time, he comes back and repeats the same thing. The fourth time, he comes back and repeats the same thing. Now, who has a problem? Is it the killer?
It is the person that is being killed all
the person that is being invaded and being killed every day. He has a problem. Because the other fellow is lawless. He doesn't have law guarding and governing his life. He's lawless.
We have Mark on the line. Mark is with ECWA Relief Foundation, and we put him online because they have been in Miango trying to watch over the situation and give us an unbiased report of what is happening. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Are you there? Hello, Mark. Are you there? Hello, Mark. Are you there? Okay, please, let's get Mark again. Please go ahead, sir. The person who has been attacked several times is the one who knows who has the law. The other person has no law.
Yes. So he has a problem. Not the lawless fellow. Okay?
Yeah, I was not getting anything.
What has happened? You see...
Okay, Mark is live now. Mark, how are you? Mark, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. How are you today?
Hello?
I'm with you, Mark. Please, let's get Mark again. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes. Now, what the picture I'm trying for all of us to get is that the bandits, the terrorists, and kidnappers, they don't have a law governing their activities because they are lawless. They are criminals. Okay? Now, but the people that they come, you can go and strike once, perhaps the second, but not continuously. It has become a routine. It means that the fellow who is being attacked is not a serious person. One, because he doesn't live in a community. He lives an individualistic life. The people that are being attacked constantly, every day, they are not a community. They can decide to call themselves we're an ethnic group, but they are not a community.
Mark is back. How are you, Mark? Hello, Mark. We don't have Mark.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. Please go ahead and tell us the situation in Miango at the moment.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, please, control room, call him back and let him just go straight to the point and tell us what is happening in Miango at the moment. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I've lost the train of my thoughts.
You were talking about people who have been attacked constantly. They are not a community.
They are not a community. Oh, why did I say that they are not a community? They are just individuals, a bunch of individuals. You see, what, so that I don't talk much about it, I'll just proffer a solution. If your community is being attacked every day, daily, constantly, then in the region where you are, is it an ethnic group or is it a city or is it a village? You ought to meet together, all of you. For example, if you have your sons and daughters who are in government, invite them home.
Chiefdom.
If you have some of them,
Mark is online.
Hello?
Hello?
Please go ahead. Just go ahead.
My name is Mark Sunday Na from Relief Foundation of ECWA. Just talk about the situation happening in Irigwe land within this last 2 weeks, especially from Sunday the 23rd July to Monday 2nd August 2021 is a worst nightmare for the entire Irigwe nation, where Fulani militia with every might have invaded not less than 15 villages and burnt and destroyed not less than 405 houses, displaced about 20,000 people, and destroyed as well as thousands of hectares of farm crops. The town of Jebu Miango and its surrounding villages was invaded yesterday, and in this operation by the Fulani, this operation lasted for more than 4 hours without any intervention from the security agency. And the villages that are right now affected within Jebu Miango, Pachudu, Kwetimve, Inchetahu, Tafigana, DTV, and Zangura. These villages, as we speak with you now, are completely burnt down, and the residents have no any option than to move to other places where they are being accommodated.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. I think that's very elaborate. Let's now expect calls from our callers. And please go ahead, sir.
Yes, with what Mark has said about the situation. You see, he said that the bandits or what, the terrorists or the Fulani were there and they operated for more than 2 hours. And then he made a comment that the security agencies were not there to protect the people. Now, there is a serious problem here. Nigeria has a very serious problem, both on the government side and also from the citizen side. Let me talk first on the citizen side. As I was discussing, that people come and kill you every day, and you do nothing. You have a problem.
Sorry, we have a call from Abuja. Mr. Silas, please go ahead. Hello, Mr. Silas.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Tony, and good evening, yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and good evening to the state elder man over there for really analysis. Sir, you see, In fact, I want to say thank you, sir, for being an elderly person to handle this issue over there. Because if you look at what you really analysis out, explain very clear to the nation, it looked like we are in danger. Seriously, sir, we are in danger because if the country is having this kind of things, Tony, you know what has been happening since 2012. Let me put it that way. You see, they are crippling. They are crippling the nation. Let me put it that way. Middle Bella in danger. Let me say it that way. Because I don't know what is happening, and I don't know what our men are doing. Tony, I lack what to say because what we are seeing is more than what we are talking about Liberia and Sierra Leone and the rest. This is a serious underground and underground. How will I say it? Why are we facing this in Nigeria? This is the question. Why are we facing this?
Wow.
Because if you look at how can somebody farm and then somebody will just go and clear the farm like that, and then it kills a lot of people and burn their houses. Why is it always happening in the rainy season? In fact, something is wrong somewhere. We need God intervention, and also I think. Well, God should help us. God should help us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Silas, for your contribution. We have a lot of people watching on Facebook, and Panam Yusufu said, this discussion should have loud voice, sir. Oh, yes, I understand. He's not talking about volume, but the voice. And then we have Zakaria Chine from the U.S., I'm sure. Professor Turaki has always been one man I truly greatly respect and adore. Thanks for your influence that spans generation and your love for the church and the nation Nigeria. We have Ezra Sobok. Good to be part of the show online. We have Elmore Hodus who says, this is what we need at the moment. Thank you, ECWA TV. We have a call. We have a call. Ibrahim from Kafanchan. Ibrahim, how are you? Okay, please, Prof, let's go ahead. People the line is extremely busy now. Okay. So let's go ahead, make our points.
Yeah, let me just try to proffer what is the solution, what is the way out. The bandits, the terrorists, the kidnappers are lawless people. They are not governed by any law. Okay? And then you have the government that has the instruments of power. And then you have the people who don't have instruments of power. Now, of these three, who are the worst victims?
We have Reverend Nehemiah from Bokos. I know we'll be interrupted. Go ahead, please. Reverend Nehemiah, please go ahead, make your contribution.
Okay, I'm calling to appreciate this very... Okay, good evening, viewers.
Good evening, go ahead.
And the presenters. Hello?
We are with you, just go ahead. Okay, Prof, please go ahead.
Yes, you see, the ordinary people, the ordinary citizens, they are the worst victims. Because the reason why I said they are the worst victims, because the terrorists and the kidnappers, they are also a victim of criminality. Okay, lack of law and order. The government is also a victim because they are incapable of stopping what is going on. It means that the government itself is a victim of its own making. Because it has all the instruments of power. But she is not capable of using its instrument of power to curtail all these things. So my solution and my suggestion to the worst victim.
Ibrahim from Kafanchan, he's calling back. Hi, Ibrahim, how are you?
My brother.
Please go ahead and make your contribution
on my
quickly.
life here in Kafanchan. Fine, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, I happen to be somebody who is born and
Go ahead, sir.
As I was saying, that the people who are the worst victims, they need to do something to protect themselves against the lawless people and against the inactive government. How do they protect themselves? If they are in like villages, like communities, they ought to hold a meeting, invite everybody. If they have their sons and daughters in government, call them back. If they're in the police, if they're in the army, call them back. When people meet together to find out what is happening to them, what is happening to their land, what is happening to everybody, they will have a solution. You don't tell them what to do, but when they meet together as a community, they will know what to do in order to protect themselves. Now, what is this? You go to government, you go and report that the bandits are coming, these things, we have been attacked, and nothing is done. Nothing is done. According to social contract and political contract, the way we used to protect ourselves in ancient days, traditionally, we handed the policing of our communities to the federal government or to government of Nigeria. We handed over our soldiers. We could have kept soldiers for our communities, but we handed that over to government because government promised we will be your police and we will be your soldiers and we will protect you because you are under contract with government.
Sorry,
now, government has failed its
back
contract.
From Kafanchan. Go ahead, Nehemiah. Please quickly make your contribution.
Okay, as I was saying, I said that I was a victim of this type of crisis, especially the crisis that engulfed Barkin Ladi in June 2018. There is a program currently going on now because lack of oscillating with the truth is part of all these attacks and counter-attacks. If something like this happens, we should ask ourselves, what is the cause of it? Is it a reprisal attack, or is it just a terrorist attack? Because terrorist attack is an attack that you cannot see any symptom of it. It will just they will just come and attack and just go like that. But in some of these things that are going on, you will discover that sometimes if we refuse to oscillate with the truth, at least by living our own side of the story and see the other side of the story, if we are not mindful of this, because if something happened maybe in the afternoon, if that thing happened in the afternoon, then you will discover that in the night, reprisal attack will now happen. So one side story, reporting one side story, refuse to, you report what happened in the night and you do not report what happened in the afternoon. So it is what is putting innocent lives in this situation. So my contribution here is, if this thing happens, like the Prof is saying, let all come together and sit and analyze this thing and see what's happening. So that at the end of the day, we'll be able to get to the root cause of the problem and we'll be able to report it appropriately, and advocacy will help in this situation so that we'll be able to report it to the appropriate channels to curtail and prevent the future reoccurrence of
yeah. Thank you very much, Nehemiah from Kafanchan. That was Nehemiah from Kafanchan. Please, Prof, go ahead with your point.
Let me respond to the narrative of reprisal attack. The narrative of reprisal attacks deals with two communities. Okay? Two communities. Now, that narrative, somebody goes and kills the other people because I was first attacked. So I go back also to attack. And then the umpire, the neutral umpire, will now tell you that, oh, it happened because it is a reprisal attack.
We have Elmo from Jos. Sorry. Elmo, please go ahead, make your contribution quickly. Is Elmo there? Hello, Elmo. Please go ahead.
Well, the reprisal attacks that I often hear, it is the Fulani attackers. Who are they attacking? They are attacking the aborigines, the original people of a particular land, of a particular area. And then the Fulani will say that what happened to us is because we were attacked. Okay? Now, just as Ibrahim said, that you have to go back and trace the roots. Why the crisis in the first place? Okay? Now, to me, when somebody says that reprisal attack happened between the Fulani who came from outside and settled among the people, and because of their kind of relationship, they couldn't decide, they couldn't create a conducive relationship between them. And then they start fighting, and then an umpire will say, well, what happened here is reprisal. Reprisal simply means that they are right to fight. They are right to kill. They are right to do what they did. Why? Because it's reprisal. That is why I don't accept the narrative of appraisal between two ethnic communities.
Sorry, we have Elmo back on the line. Hello, Elmo, good evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Elmo Hodus. I'm calling from Jos.
Okay.
Right now, as I'm talking to you, my parents are in my house. Why? Because their house got burnt last night. And then, thank God, I was able to go pick them up on Sunday because they had another attack before yesterday. So I had to go pick them, brought them to my house and all that. And then the house was fully locked. It was a bulletproof door and all that. So they were not able to penetrate. We in fact, we had to count today because we went there today. We had to count. We had over 37 bullets. Over 37 bullets being shot on the door. Okay, right now they were trying to open the door, but they were not still able to open. And then there was no trace of bullets, like the shell on the ground. There was nothing. So they did everything without trace. But sir, what I'm trying to tell you right now is that we know very, very well that the government are involved in this.
Thank you very much for the contribution. We are just looking for people who can make unbiased contribution, and we feel so sorry about your situation. We are just looking at ways that solution can be given, you know, and though your voice must count, and when someone is in pain, there is no extent to what they cannot say. And it's just a show where we can discuss how these things are happening, you know, and if you are a Christian and you feel sorry for the people that have lost their properties in Miango. We have the ECWA Relief Foundation. You can send in contributions where we can aid these people and bring them back home. And we will let you know as you keep watching our shows. We can send you their contacts, and we can even send you email where you can be able to reach them so that you can send your support for these people to go back to their communities when everything is calm. Please go ahead, Prof.
Tony, I think this is a very good idea that ECWA has a relief foundation in order to help people who are suffering from the immediate attacks. The people need help more than anything, and I think that's a very good organization that ECWA has set up in order to bring relief to people who are affected. Okay. Now, what we are discussing is what can we do to forestall all these things that are happening. Okay. Now, the point I was trying to make is that, you see, the bandits or the terrorists or the kidnappers, you would have realized.
We have a caller, but he's calling my line directly all the way from US, and he is watching. So let's just pick the call here and talk with him. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, good evening. I know it's morning over there. How are you doing today, sir?
I am good. Thank you.
Yeah. So are you watching the show first and foremost?
Yes, I am. I am watching you guys live. And sorry that I called Baba guys.
No, Kajang, that is not, you are right. I know the voice.
I just have a few thoughts that I want to run by Prof. And one is to ask about the persistent nature of these attacks, and to ask if some of those foundational citizen issues that were not addressed, those foundational defects in the makeup of what is today called Nigeria, can also partly be blamed for it. When one community gets attacked, another community that is not attacked think that they are immune from the attacks until it is their turn. And we've seen this thing spread, whether it's from communities in southern Kaduna, whether it's in Plateau, in Benue, in Niger. I mean, we can just keep going on running through the list. Communities that are not affected think it will never, they will never be affected. I'm also wondering, again, just running this by Prof, if the conception of Nigeria, I tend to think that we think more in terms of regions than in terms of a nation. And so regions are left to fend for themselves, even in contexts of crisis like this. And it trickles down to communities, to ethnic groups, and so on and so forth. How do we overcome this, if my assumptions are right? How do we overcome this and start thinking in terms of a nation so that we can address these imbalances, so that we can address this mess that we see, the killings of Nigerians all over the place?
Thank you very much, Reverend Zakaria Chine, all the way from US, for calling me on my personal phone on a live show. Thank you, sir. We have just 1 minute or 2 minutes for you to respond because our time is up. So let's respond and close the show.
Well, thank you very much. I think the problem Nigeria has is what has already been highlighted by a caller from the US. Nigerian political culture is founded upon 3 pillars. The pillar of ethnicity, you can define that as tribalism, the pillar of religion, and then the pillar of region or section. Now, Nigerian politics has never transcended, has never gone beyond this. Nigerians are yet to deal with the issues of ethnicity or ethnocentrism and primordialism or tradition. They are yet to deal with the question of religion and also the question of their regions. And this is what has held Nigeria back. And Nigeria cannot develop unless these three pillars are dealt with. Nigeria needs a new political culture, not the older one. You can't win election in Nigeria unless you use one or two or three of these pillars. No Nigerian wins election without these three pillars. And these are the pillars that hold us back. Nigeria does not have what I call national ethic, that is national ethical structures, that these national ethic will moderate my attitude, everybody's attitude, and bring them to order, because we don't have national values. What is going on, all these things, you see, the kidnappers, the terrorists, and all these, the bandits, they are well organized. Otherwise, they wouldn't come every day and be killing people, because they are well organized. And then our people are also not organized. The terrorists who are lawless are well organized, while the citizens themselves are not well organized. They don't live under what I call law and order. Okay? As I was saying before, we have more calls. As I was saying,
in 1 minute.
Yes, what we need is that we need communities, we need villages, we need towns, we need cities, we need ethnic groups who are suffering from this to come together and have a solemn assembly and discuss how to deal with this issue of lawless people coming every time to kill them. Going to the police, going to the army is useless. It's useless. Why? Because they are well organized. Now, Nigerian army and Nigerian police and government, they are well organized institutions. Even if the bandits, anywhere they are in the territory of Nigerian well-organized army, police, and governmental institution will be able to locate them and find them and deal with them. Now, they come every day, they come every week, they come every month, they come every year and do the same thing. And then they live amongst us. And we don't have a system whereby we can address them, whereby we can deal with these criminals in our midst. The government is crying criminals, citizens are crying criminals, and all Nigerians are crying criminals. How do you solve the criminality of Nigerians? This is the problem that Nigerians have to tackle.
I think in the next episode we would have to discuss further this issue. How can we solve the problems and how can we go back to being lawful? Thank you very much, Professor Turaki, for taking out time to be on the show with me. We have spent well over 1 hour and we have to end the show here. Thank you very much for watching. You can still make your contributions and comment on Facebook while we read your comments live on the next episode. Thank you very much for staying with us. Check us next time, same time. Be kind to one another. Bye-bye.